From gaps in the earth to creepy radio frequencies, today's list will cover all this and more as we count down top 10 terrifying signals from hell. Probably. Welcome back, Top 10 fam. I'm your host, Raechel Fisher, and let's get ready to get really weird. Yeah, let's go. Number 10, starting off strong with Castle Houska. Castle Houska is definitely on my bucket list for places I actually want to see for myself. The legend of the castle is pretty spectacular. The legend says that the castle was built over a hole that cracked open in 878 AD that led to the pits of hell. Demons and winged creatures allegedly flew from the pit, terrorizing villages below. So they decided to build a castle over it with fake windows in order to keep whatever it was inside. However, that didn't stop the people from being curious as to what was really down there. So they decided to make a bargain with the crooks and criminals in the village. If prisoners would allow themselves to be lowered down into the pit, then they would be given a full pardon. One man was up for the task, so they decided to tie some rope and he began his descent. Seconds into the darkness, the man began screaming and begging to be pulled back up. When he finally emerged, his hair had gone gray and his face appeared to have aged 30 years. They tried to ask him what he saw, but his screams and murmurs fell into madness. His screams remained the only sign that something indeed horrifying was down there. Number 9, Legion. What remains one of the creepiest stories from the Bible is the story about Legion. We've talked your ear off on this channel about possession stories and the demonic ether, but this one came from the book itself in the Gospel of Mark 5:9. A man approaches Jesus with a demonic affliction. He says that he is plagued by something dark and consuming. Little did he know it was not only one demon, but so many. When Jesus asked the man, "What is thy name?" he answered, "My name is Legion, for we are many." Can anyone else hear the way that would have sounded? Like, picture like the creepiest demon voice ever and just like multiplying. So scary. Somehow this guy became the host to over 2,000 demons, and Jesus expelled them from the man and sent them into a flock of pigs. Now, I know what you're thinking, is that why bacon tastes so good? It's actually demon bacon? No, that flock of pigs was drowned in the Sea of Galilee. So anyways, still very creepy. Number 8, the Queen of Hell. The life of Richard Gallagher was weird enough, until one day he encountered a case stranger than all others. Gallagher, an Ivy League psychiatrist, a man of science, didn't believe in exorcisms or the idea of possessions, until he became the go-to guy for the church when people claimed they had possessions. He was supposed to give them a psychological evaluation to determine if the cause was treatable or needed external help. But he anticipated not receiving any of those cases, that he could help them all. However, things got weird. Needless to say, he saw some strange things, but no one stranger than the queen of Satan herself, a woman named Julie. Julie was a part of a satanic cult and went to Gallagher asking for help to remove a demon, though he did wonder why she would want to remove it considering she was part of a satanic cult, but hey, whatever, maybe it was that bad. During their sessions, she would reveal intimate details about his life, and on top of that, objects would fly off the wall and she would speak in a voice that clearly didn't belong to her, several voices in fact. But the moment that creeped him out the most was a message he received once during a phone call. While speaking with the priest about Julie's case, both he and the priest heard the demonic voices that sounded exactly like the ones that came from Julie during their sessions. But Julie had not magically joined the call. In fact, she was miles away across the country. There was literally no way those voices could have come from her. Except maybe they did. Ever since this case, Gallagher has become a full believer in the unknown and continues to practice with the church. Number 7, Operation Wandering Soul. Full disclosure, this message isn't directly from hell, but it made people believe that it was, so I think it counts. Plus, it was so cruel it might as well have been. Operation Wandering Soul was a psychological war tactic created by the American military in 1970 to exploit the superstitions and religious practices of Vietnam. In Vietnam, the traditional belief was that the dead must be buried in their homeland or their spirit won't be able to rest. So the US military created a recording of ghostly moans, disjointed Vietnamese eerie screams and screeches underlined by Buddhist funeral music. They blasted this macabre symphony over the speakers of a light aircraft and flew it over remote areas of Vietnam. They even played it within the jungle. The song also included messages in Vietnamese pleading their loved ones to go home while they still had the chance. They also included messages that translated to, and I quote, "My friends, I come back to let you know that I am dead. I am dead. I am in hell. Just hell. It was a senseless death. How senseless, how senseless. But when I realized the truth, it was too late. Too late." Here is a clip of what it sounded like. So considering so many loved ones were taken and lost during the war, imagine how heartbreaking and terrifying this message would have been to the people. The military hoped that the people would believe that the song would be true, give up the fight, full of remorse, come out of hiding so they could attack them. Right? The US knew they were losing, so they pulled out all the stops. So they did one of the cruelest things they could think of, which might as well be from down below. Number 6, the sounds of Saturn. If that didn't send a chill down your spine, you are superhuman, man. You are braver than anyone else here, especially me. I would have run from that. What you're actually hearing though are the sound recordings picked up from Saturn. It literally sounds like thousands of monsters are wailing into space while undergoing monstrous pain. These sounds are the audio representation of the intense radio wave emissions from Saturn's auroras. The original sounds had to be shifted down by a factor of 44. Yes, it is still true that sound can't travel in space, okay? But radio waves can be converted into a soundscape, or in this case, a horrorscape perfect for like a haunted house. There is so much we don't know about space. What with dark matter and dark energy continuing to boggle minds as they continue to mess with the universe and expand it, anything could be out there. Hey, even one of the planets in our solar system could be the home we all fall to when we go to the place down below or above. No idea, who knows. Either way, this sounds a little too much like screaming to me to be anything besides a signal from hell. Number 5, the ZoZo Phenomenon.
If you really hate me, tell me right now through this device in my hand that you hate me.
The ZoZo Phenomenon has warded off and intrigued paranormal enthusiasts for over 2 centuries now, and it keeps getting creepier. Is ZoZo simply a ghost or a demonic entity trying to break through unsuspecting victims? Who knows? Stories of this entity known as ZoZo first appeared in 1816 when obsessions with possessions and seances were exciting for the times. A possessed girl in Picardy, France reportedly said the name ZoZo often, and it was later determined that it was the name of the spirit that possessed her. Then for years they were quiet until the 20th century. The more people interacted with the other side, the more they would appear friendly at first. Disguised as a deceased loved one or friend, ZoZo would lure them into a false sense of security, and then things got dark. They would spout curses, threats, and some would even come to fruition today. The phenomenon primarily appears when people use Ouija boards, so user beware. You could be talking to your loved one, or it could be a demon sent from hell. Number 4, the wow signal. If your job is to just listen to the sounds of the big wide universe, I can imagine that would like have 2 speeds. Really boring to really exciting really quickly. But in 1977, Jerry Amon, an astronomer at the Big Ear Radio Telescope, discovered something incredible. While scanning over piles of data, an unexpected sequence occurred. He circled it and said "wow" in the brackets, giving it its name. The signal appeared to have come from a point near the constellation of Sagittarius, but when they pointed telescopes back, it disappeared. It didn't translate to anything specific like "hi" or like "what's up" or like "hey, I like cheeseburgers," but the sequence appeared in the part of the radio spectrum where ET communications would appear. Now this one could arguably have been aliens, or it could have been like a supernova, or it could come from a place we know equally as much about, which is practically nothing, kind of. We know some things about space, but not a lot. But then we know more than we think we do. I don't know. Again, the universe is wide, and with no known clue as to where or what sent this signal, could it have been trying to send a message much darker than we anticipated? I think it's worth thinking about. Why not? We're on the channel, we might as well. Number 3, backwards music broadcast. Whoever made this radio station was either on something or somewhere as dark and creepy as the music, and I think we all know where I mean. As you can tell, the backwards music station doesn't actually play any music, just like really creepy sounds. Their music is a jumble of high-pitched frequencies, rumbling, whining, wailing, screaming, and whatever else they want. But what's even more strange is that they don't broadcast all the time. The signal is intermittent, appearing here and there I guess when it wants to, and no one knows exactly where it is coming from either. The station will fire up for a few courses and then silence for long extended periods of time, sometimes months, sometimes years. There is a suspicion the signal is coming from two different points. One is in the US and one is in the UK, or mainland Europe. Yeah, so they've really narrowed it down there. Everyone's thinking it, I'm just saying it. Satan. I know one of our commenters claims to be the man himself, so would you be so kind as to confirm? If so, what is your inspiration behind your work? What messages are you trying to get across? We are dying to know. Number 2, Max Headroom Broadcast. Do I need to explain why this weird random broadcast has to be from hell? Do I really need to? It's terrifying. The Max Headroom Broadcast is probably one of the creepiest things to ever happen on television in history. In 1987, an unknown pirate hijacked airwaves and interrupted 2 TV channels. One was showing the news while the other was showing an episode of Doctor Who. The people watching Doctor Who probably would have reacted in two ways. One, they would have just thought it was part of the episode, and 2, they would have felt vindicated because a video like that could only mean that the Doctor was real and about to step in at any moment. Right? The first interruption just featured buzzing and a distorted video, but the second included the masked man's mad rambling. The man is wearing a Max Headroom mask and said some pretty weird stuff, including calling someone a nerd liberal and being spanked by someone in a French maid outfit. Satan, what were you thinking? We'd all love to know because clearly you sent this. We are not in on the in-joke, so if you wouldn't mind providing some explanation in the comments down there, that'd be great. Cheers. And last but not least, we have UBB76 at number 1. Another irritating electronic noise that sounds just like this. The sound is broadcast over a specific frequency, plays constantly, and has only been interrupted 3 times. But this is where it gets creepy. I know, creepier than the sound itself. When the sound stops, a voice comes on and lists several Russian names and numbers before the sound returns to normal. This strange occurrence began in 1982, and their last time the voice appeared was in 2006. Scarier still, it's not a recording. Many people believe that this sound is coming from a microphone broadcasting constantly. Sometimes distant voices can be heard, but nothing specific can be made out. And that was our top 10 list for today. I've been your host, Raechel Fisher. If you like this video, you know what to do, and if you're Satan, comment down below, or a demon if you have any comments on that. Do you know if you're in relationship to anything on this list? Let us know. We are curious. It is the spooky season. I've been your host, Raechel Fisher, and until next time, guys, take care.